Hey, this is Everett, and I've been thinking about something lately that I want to run by you, so here we go. Now, I consider myself a pretty humble person. I don't like to really talk about myself, but for someone who doesn't like to talk about themselves, I talk about myself a lot. Confused? Alright, let me explain this. See, I'm not the person that can't stop bragging about the raise he just got or his vacation home in St. Lucia, mostly because I don't get raises and I don't even really know where St. Lucia is. That's not me. But I do talk about myself in much more subtle ways, much more subdued ways, which actually makes it a lot more dangerous because it's harder to notice. So here's an example. When someone tells me that the airlines lost their luggage, my brain immediately goes into me mode, and I respond with, "Oh, I know. One time I was flying to Las Vegas and they lost my luggage," and boom. I have now taken the conversation from that person and brought it to me. And I catch myself doing this all the time. I do it about good things and I do it about bad things. I mean, when someone tells me that the boss just bit their head off for no reason, I go, "Oh, that's nothing." One time, poof. And I've stopped listening to them, I've stopped caring about what they've just gone through, and I've stated that my experience is so much more important than theirs. And this is so easy to do. In fact, that's often our default reaction when we don't even realize we're doing it. And by the way, when I say we, I mean me. Because like I said, I do this all the time. 1,000 times a day and I don't even realize it. I take a conversation where I should be listening and I immediately swap it and ask the other person to listen to me. Now, why do I do this? I have no idea. Insecurity, maybe, ego, just plain habit. Maybe it's just one of those codes I've programmed in without even realizing I've done it. So I've decided to take a me fast. I picked a number of days, 3 sounded good, and I set a goal to go 3 consecutive days without talking about me at all. If I slip up and talk about me, then the clock starts all over again. So I first started this about a week ago, and I lasted about 20 minutes. So why is this so difficult? Is it because I'm a self-centered person or I'm ego-driven? I don't know, maybe. But probably part of it is because it's so easy to do and it's so incredibly subtle and even tricky. Because when our coworker tells us that there's pecan pie in the break room and we respond with, "Ooh, I love pecan pie," you've just done it again. It's now not the pie or everyone's pecan pie. It's the pie that you love. In fact, it even goes down a level from that. If someone is talking about, I don't know, crabgrass, and we go, "Oh, I read this fascinating crabgrass article recently," you've done it again. Because it's not about the article, it's about you having read the article. Now, why is this important? Well, the first reason is that we're talking about us, then we're not listening to them. That's the first reason. But also there's a logical aspect to it because we already know about the crabgrass article we read. We already know about the luggage we lost. We don't need to hear that story again. But there are thousands of stories from even our closest family and friends that we've not heard. Questions that we've not asked them that we could be listening to, but we're not because we're too busy telling. And then there's this. We may think we get something out of talking about ourselves, that there's an emotional gain, that there's pleasure in it, but it's actually a drain. There's a slight cost to it every time we do it. It's small, but it's there. But here's the really interesting part. When we bring the conversation around to someone else, that drain actually becomes an emotional gain. So here's a perfect example of this. After about a week of trying to go 3 consecutive days, there was one day I made it about 6 hours before I had to start all over. But what was interesting was after about hour 5, I started to feel, well, pretty good. For no reason. I just felt great. I'm not really sure why. Maybe because I liked myself a little more for doing it, but I did. So I'm going to go 3 whole days without talking about myself. It may take a month, possibly 2, but I'll get there. In fact, unless someone is asking me a direct question, I won't talk about myself in any way. If I do, I won't beat myself up. I will just start to clock over. And that's what I'm going to do. So let me know in the comments below if you've decided to try this and how you're doing. And I'll let you know how many times I had to start all over.